Welcome to Sit Down with the Superintendent, presented by GCHS TV. Join us as we welcome Greenup County Superintendent Traysea Moresea to our roundtable discussion hosted by GCHS students.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Sit Down with the Superintendent. I'm Taylor Gammon here with Ethan Huff and our Superintendent, Miss Moresea. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
I'm good.
Oh, I'm doing spectacular.
Excited to be in school instead of at home?
Very excited.
Yeah.
We've missed it.
It's
Yeah,
nice.
I'm not really used to it anymore.
I know. I'm really. It feels good to walk. You can feel the energy in the building when you come in, because there are actual students in the building now, and it's so nice. So we're glad you're here.
We're glad to be back, but the only thing I'm not glad about is waking up every morning.
It is. It is difficult.
It's hard to adjust back to.
Poor Taylor now lives across the street. I just moved in, and she probably gets to hear me yell at my children in the mornings to get up and get moving. So
You probably hear my mom doing the same thing.
Well, the problem is I'm just as bad, so it's probably my husband actually yelling for all of us to get moving.
So, we're back in school as we were just talking about, but if cases start to rise, will we end up back on a complete NTI schedule?
You know, I don't see that being an option right now. There is actually a new law out that says after April 30th, we are only allowed to have 5 NTI days. So there's your scoop of the day. We're only allowed to have 5 after April 30th. Now, we can go back to a hybrid schedule if we need to with the Wednesdays and have you guys doing the AB schedule if that will shrink the spread. But right now, it seems to be pretty positive in our area that we're able to stay in the yellow-orange category. If we were to get in the high red numbers, we would take a strong look at it. But right now, we're very hopeful if we continue doing all of the masking that we should be doing and following our protocols. We really just want to keep you safe and keep our families safe that you're going home to, and control that spread, stay in school, and push right on through.
And with the amount of NTI days we've had this year, will that affect anything like the last day of school or?
You know, a common thought is that we haven't been in school because we've been on NTI. But I think you guys can attest to the amount of work that was sent home to you, and the times that people were calling your house to check on you, and the extra, you know, it takes longer to learn whenever you're not right there with your team. So to say that working is true. We're all working. You guys were working hard. Teachers working twice as hard to be able to get information. They had to turn exactly what they were doing, flip it, literally flip their entire education on its head. I will give kudos. I would say Mr. Collier might have been the most prepared teacher to do something like this because he already did all of the Google Classroom. And the high school was pretty far along. We had 132 Google certified adult educators in our district at the time when this all happened. So the fact that we were a little bit far ahead on this really did help, but the amount of work that was put into it was tremendous, and we are getting out on time. So to answer that question, you will still have your spring break as of right now, and we'll get out on time.
Well, that's a relief.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So what do you think school will look like next year then?
You know, I just saw that they are getting ready to allow the vaccinations to even go 18 all the way down to 16. I think if we get into that classification and we start seeing they're doing some experiments with vaccinations even for younger children, it just really depends on how far the science comes along. If so, I could see us being maskless in the fall, which would be fantastic. So I do know the CDC today was releasing that we can remove the 6 feet and shrink it down to 3 feet, which is perfect. We'll take that. We'll take everything we can get that says we're one step closer.
So how about the kids that are in virtual, like fully virtual? Are they going to get to come back?
They are more than welcome to come back. We actually prefer them to come back. We just feel like you get the full school experience if you're in the building. There's a lot to be said about just seeing your friends in the hallway, getting to have a normal lunch with friends, have classes like this that you get to interact with each other, because that's the experience of high school. The same thing for elementary. It's very difficult for little kids to learn how to read and how to write virtually. So we're excited to get as many back into the schools as possible. We understand some are still hesitant, and some have blossomed. Some have absolutely loved online learning, and they have blossomed from it. So, it kind of depends on your learning style. And if your learning style fits virtual, we will make that available for you.
So it's going to be a permanent option now?
It is going to be a permanent option. You guys are getting all kinds of scoops here today, aren't you?
So a lot of the problems that's been happening with athletics through the past football season, soccer season, and basketball season recently was ticket limitations, letting people into the games. Do you have any idea what that will look like for spring sports coming up, such as baseball?
I did. They're looking at a 60% capacity because it's outside. Right now, indoor sports are at a 25% capacity. So they're looking at a 60% capacity because it's outside. Now, what does create a problem is a lot of our outdoor sports areas do not have a ton of bleachers. So we will have to take a look and see if we can add some more portable bleachers to get you guys a little bit more space so you can space out. They're still encouraging that you sit as a family. That way you're providing room for other people to be able to come in. But it is opening up a little bit.
And will there still be a required mask rule at the outside sport events?
As of right now, yes.
All right.
Yes. I watched my son's soccer game in a mask yesterday. So, yes. Okay.
Did he do good in the soccer game?
He did. It was his first game. He really plays baseball, is what he always likes to play. But where we relocated, that meant we are not where the baseball league had been previously that we had used. So we got kind of a late start on it. And as busy as we are, travel ball just didn't seem like something we could accomplish this year, because my daughter plays volleyball. And then my son obviously loves sports too. So I said, you know what? You just need to get active. Just stay active and it'll be fine. I said, the soccer team at the middle school really needs more players. So if anybody's watching and you're a soccer player and you've thought about this, you need to come out because they need some players, especially we don't have a lot of girls, okay? So we need some more girls. So my son is in 5th grade and he is playing up on the soccer team. And he did great. He likes to, I guess they called it a header. I don't know. I don't know. At first he was playing defense, and then they realized that he can actually move around and do some crazy things. So, he has no fear, and soccer seems to be suiting him. So we'll see. But it was fun to watch. I mean, get all of his aggression out, and he slept really well last night.
Soccer's always a good sport to get aggression out.
Yes.
They get those games.
I didn't know he had it in him. I was kind of sad at first. He was so aggressive. But it was good. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you had a COVID vaccine earlier.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that and what you think about it.
Sure. First of all, shout out to King's Daughters. They had the most efficient, they should be in charge of our orientations and schedule pickups, is what I've decided. It was so efficient. You just walked in and you basically went from station to station and you were in and out. They had everybody scheduled 15 minutes apart. It was great. We, as a district, we had around, I think we're up to around 67% now as adults that have been vaccinated, which is actually quite good because when we first started, there was a lot of hesitation. People weren't for sure about it. They didn't know if they would have side effects. They also weren't for sure if it would work. And you heard the horror stories of people getting sick from it. So it made people a little hesitant, especially if they already had a medical situation that would, cause another problem. So I think we're doing better on that. I'm happy with our team and how they're starting to step up. Even more are still going and getting it. As far as saying that it was difficult because I had COVID before, I actually contracted COVID this year. So because I had gotten it, that actually made the shot a little bit tougher on me. So I relapsed a little bit right after getting the shot. And I did not enjoy that moment. But it was gone in 24 hours. and I was fine after that. So, but yes, you did relive the virus for 24 hours.
That does not sound fun.
It was not fun to relive the virus. I was a little panicky, I'm not going to lie, but thank goodness everybody just dealt with me at my house, and it was fine.
Nobody close to me has actually had COVID. Was it pretty rough?
You know, I think everybody, depending on, I mean, let me go ahead and say, I am no medical expert, okay? However, from what I've experienced with our employees, it somehow depends on just your makeup and what other ailments you may already have sometimes. I truly believe there might have been a couple of different versions because some people got it really, really bad, and then some people didn't even know they had it, you know. So mine, for instance, I did not know I had it at all. I thought I had a sinus infection. And then after about 5 or 6 days into knowing that I had it, I struck a fever of 104. And it was horrible at night because you'd get these really bad night fevers. But that was all I had, was the fever. Everything else was fine. I can still taste, I can still smell, and I have not lost any weight from it. So we'll leave it at that.
A lot of the symptoms, he stopped taking temperatures at the door. Fever is no longer something that recommend as being an indicator, because a lot of times you don't get the fever until late at night.
What do you think about the scanners that we?
Those are pretty snazzy.
Those are fancy.
Those
I
are
was
snazzy.
surprised when I walked
Yes,
in and
I
saw
thought
those
those
the
were.
first day.
That has to save on manpower too, because it's so difficult for the teachers to get in there and do that.
And
so
they're fast.
they're very
You
fast.
step
yeah.
up to that and it scans you and
I
you're gone.
get a chance to fix my hair every morning before.
Do
I walk
you?
in, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it tell you to put on your mask? Because I think it does, doesn't it? Doesn't it say
Oh, I
something
don't know. I
about
haven't
please?
I've always
It
had
does,
my
right?
mask on.
Really?
Yeah, if you have your mask down, I've heard that it'll say like, please adjust your mask. So there you go.
That's nice.
Yeah,
That's
I
really
was
nice.
impressed with it. So it was a good purchase. I liked it.
So since you said that they're not checking at King's Daughters, do you think that there's a chance that our schools could?
I have submitted that request.
Okay.
I submitted it to the Commissioner of Education, and the Dr. Stephen Stack's educational cohort or whatever, and they are looking into it, and it is something they're considering along with the 3-foot distancing instead of the 6-foot. So, right?
That'll be nice to be able to come into school and just walk through the door without having to stop to get a temperature taken.
Yes.
It'll feel normal.
It'll feel closer to normal, and your teachers will not be so stressed because teachers actually have to come in earlier now
Oh, yeah.
so that they can get that accomplished for you.
I never thought about
So
that.
the days are longer for all of your staff at every
Yeah.
school. That most teachers are arriving at 7 a.m. To make sure that they're ready to do those temperature checks. So.
Really. So, are we gonna have a prom this year?
I think we are. It
It's up in the air.
depends. It depends. My understanding, I have read the graphic. That's how much information I can
Yeah.
tell you about it. I have read the graphic. So it sounds like it'll be outside, which will make it a little bit safer for everyone. I'm excited to see your bedazzled masks. I can't wait to see what you come up with.
I never thought about that. People decorating their masks
Yeah,
to suit
yeah.
their dresses.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to all match. You know it will. Yeah. Whoever
I've
you
heard-
take will want you to match their dress. Just
I
letting
don't
you
think I'll
know.
be taking anybody. What
I know some dress shops. They're selling bedazzled masks to match
go with
match
the
certain
dress.
dresses that they're selling.
So who needs
Yeah.
earrings?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You've got the bedazzled mask.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah. So I could see it getting very interesting
Yeah.
with that.
It'll
but
be surprising to see who shows up in what.
yes. Well, it's always that way.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yes, it is.
But the live walk-in, I think will be new watching that
Yeah.
to see the idea of doing the carpet. And I don't know. Are you guys going to do interviews?
I don't know yet.
I think you should totally
We-
do interviews on the red carpet.
That'll be an interesting thing.
Okay. There's a suggestion, Mr. Collier.
Yes, Mr. Collier.
All right. Well, thank you for
Yeah.
joining us on this edition of Sit Down with Superintendent. I'd like to thank Taylor Gammon and myself, Ethan Huff, and that'll do it for us.
All right.
Have a good day.